y'all, so this is my first video in a hot minute. But I just got these absolutely adorable, and I'm gonna butcher the word, amigurumi kits, and I wanted to share them and give my opinion on them because I have seen so many videos, ads, Facebook posts about different versions, different companies, different everything of these beginner crochet kits. I get recommended them in my For You pages and stuff like that. And so these ones were actually sent to me and I wanted to open one up. We're gonna do the full amigurumi. Hopefully I can get it all into a video. And then we'll just see, are they worth it? I got two of them. I do wanna save one to have an actual beginner do. So I think I'm gonna do the koala, which I will admit I thought was a mouse, and I'm gonna save the hedgehog for my nephew to try out. So I'm gonna set this one aside, and we are gonna open this one up. Okay, oh no, there we go. All right, so it just opens like this. It's called Creatkits. I should probably show all this. Learn to crochet kit for beginners. It does say that it comes with all the yarn that you need. There are step-by-step videos available online. There's a keychain to attach your completed piece to. It does come with the crochet hook that you need, which I do think is nice if somebody is trying to learn. For those of us that have 5,000 crochet hooks, it may not be necessary, but for beginners, absolutely. It does come with written instructions as well, a tapestry needle it looks like, plastic eyes, and stuffing. Now, the plastic eyes, I will say, I'm probably not going to be a fan of, and I can tell you right now, I will either switch them out for some of the safety eyes that I have, or stitch some eyes on, just because I don't like these eyes. It's a small thing, it's a personal taste, but they absolutely have them in there. And then, let's see, I should have pulled this off before I started filming, but of course I did not. So give me a second here. Oh, now that was pure luck. Okay, it says, discover your new passion. This kit welcomes newcomers to the world of crochet. The secret, it's more than just a kit. With things like a piece that's already begun and detailed tutorial videos, you'll craft your own toy in no time. When you're finished, you'll gain more than a charming new companion. You'll acquire a new skill to cherish for life, along with newfound confidence. Now, this is the part that we're going to be testing out. Would it actually teach you how to crochet again? On a different kit? Does it explain things like how to read a pattern? Or does it just teach you how to make this koala? There's nothing wrong with making this koala, but it's the difference between teaching you a hobby and giving you a one-off craft. So let's go ahead and open it up. And it's probably really loud on the camera, and I apologize. Pull everything out here, and we will go through all of the bits and bobs. Okay, bag is empty. So, first thing I'm noticing is the yarn is not the color that is in the picture. The koala in the picture is a blue, and this is a solid light gray. So not a big deal, but if you were hoping for a blue koala in your life, not gonna happen with this kit. We do get a small amount of black yarn and a medium amount of white. So we've got a lot of the gray, medium white, small amount of black. It is a variation from what the picture expectation sets, but that's not terrible if you're just starting to crochet. So let's see what else we got here. Oh, I should have looked up and confirmed how much this kit is. I will put it over this audio right here. Note to self, it should be right around here-ish, how much this kit would be to buy if you were to buy it online. So, oh, well, those look nice. Okay. So it does come with a pair of craft scissors. They're not terrible. Let's see if I have, what do I have that I can cut here? We'll cut this little receipt piece. Let's see. They're not super sharp. Oh, no, they're not sharp at all. It didn't even make it. It kind of dented the paper. So they're not great scissors. Oh, but I did get a cut there. So they're okay. Shockingly, I don't have a little piece of yarn, which you would assume that I would have nearby. But I don't. We'll get some yarn later and test. Now, are they perfect? No. But they are decent, and it's not included in the what's included in the kit. These scissors are not in there, so I don't know if that is an accidental bonus. Maybe I'll open up the second one and take a peek and see. So we have the scissors. They do have a nice, oh, can you see? Looks like they're wet inside. Maybe they oiled the scissors. Hang on, let's see. Yeah, they do. The scissors do feel like they have like an oil on them. So I think that's what that little bit of wetness that you see is. I don't know if it is even coming up on camera, but it's on the inside of the lid. So we got those scissors. We did get the promised keychain for the finished product. I'm gonna put that back in here or it will get lost before I finish. It also came with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitch markers. They're just your basic safety pin style stitch markers. So nothing crazy special, but it is nice to have, especially if you're learning, to be able to mark off where you're starting and stopping. The crochet hook is actually pretty nice. It feels like the hook itself goes all the way down to about here where you see those 3 dots on the grip. And then this up here is a little bit more flexible, but it does feel solid. It's lightweight. Looks to be about, it's a 4 millimeter. And to be honest, the conversions I never remember, but it's what, like a G maybe. And so yeah, so it seems solid. I do feel like the hook is deep enough that it will be effective. Can we get some, there we go. Oh, okay. So I do feel like the hook is deep enough that it'll be effective, and I don't see any major flaws that should catch the yarn or anything like that. We do also have this extra jump ring for the keychain, which I'm going to put back in the bag. The eyes are safety eyes, which I think is great because it's really important that, it's really important that you have those safety eyes when you're doing amiguri if you're not going to do the stitching in. Like I said, I will probably switch to some of the eyes that I have just because they give them a little bit more personality. I'm not a huge fan of the solid black eye. It kind of creeps me out. But they do come with both pieces in order to affix it to your project. Now, the stuffing, this is kind of funny. It is vacuum packed, and it's actually pretty stiff. I'm not going to cut it open right now because it's a great way to store this, but it is kind of funny to see all this stuffing just like with the air sucked out of it. It does look like it will be enough to create the little animal, the little koala, once it's fluffed up. I will probably also open this up at least a couple hours before I am ready to stuff my koala, simply because I want to give it time to kind of re-expand before I go stuffing it into something else. Oh, and then we have the tapestry needle. I do love a good tapestry needle. This one is a nice metal or metal coated one. That's what I prefer over the plastic, because I do find that the plastic tend to be a little bit duller at the tip, and so I tend to split the yarn more often. I like something that has a dull but fine point, which sounds a little bit contradictory, but it's true. And you tend to get that better with the metal ones, and this is a nice one. It's pretty long. Maybe what, about 4 inches, 3 inches long. So yeah, so we've got our needle. Now let's look at the yarn. So the yarn is, oh, I already see something that annoys me. What is this? What is happening here? I don't know. We'll figure that out in a minute. Here's another end. Oh, that means it wasn't even, that is just a join. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Hopefully I can cut that sneeze out, but in case I can't, excuse me. So, looking at the yarn is this like jersey knit style yarn. I don't even know the proper term for it. It's got, let's see if I can get that on camera. Okay, so it's got stuffing in the yarn, and then it's a tube that comes up around it. I wonder if you guys can hear my dog scratching the couch up. It's his favorite thing to do. Anyway, so it feels like a jersey knit. It's got a little bit of stretch to it, not a ton of stretch, but a little bit. It is on the thicker side. Would probably be about an Aran weight yarn, maybe a worsted, but it would be a very thick worsted weight yarn. I could check. Anyway, it does feel nice and strong, which I like. The upside of this jersey knit style is it's going to be very hard for a beginner to split that yarn, because this yarn is a tube. So you're not going to be able to split it as you're trying to work your stitches, which is nice. Now before we look at the instructions and the paperwork that came with it, I want to check something, because this says, let's see, with things like a piece that's already begun and detailed tutorials. So this did not come with anything that has already been, let's see, there's the end of my white, and these are the ends of my black. So we have nothing on these bits of yarn that has already been started. So we're gonna have to start ourselves, which would be fine, but we're gonna see what the instructions say, because if the instructions have us starting from a beginning piece, then we have already failed. So let's take a look at the koala. So it does have the proper abbreviations, and the pattern is written out as a pattern. Okay, so we've got round 1, 6 single crochet into magic ring, round 2, 6 increase, so we have 12 stitches, and it goes on and on. So it is written out as a pattern, which means that you will learn and be able to read the next pattern that you pick, even if it doesn't come with all of this stuff. Materials, we did get the yarn, and interestingly it does say gray here. I am standing by the fact that that is clearly a blue koala, but apparently they intended it to be gray. So we did receive white, black, and gray yarn. It says that it's a 5-ply. The black, oh, it's just the black that's the 5-ply yarn. And you can kind of see it splitting a little bit there. We got the keychain pieces, the eyes, the needle, the stitch markers. This does have the scissors listed, so those were intentional, even if it doesn't list them on the back. So it is kind of like getting an extra little gift in there. And then the 25 grams of the stuffing. So the instructions do seem fairly clear. They are well written. I appreciate, this is going to sound like a very silly and nitpicky thing, but I do love that it's on a nice high gloss paper. I have gotten a lot of ooh, that's interesting. We'll look at that in a minute. I've gotten a lot of instructions lately from different things that I've ordered, whether it's yarn related or not, where it comes, what I get basically looks like a printout from my printer back in 1998. It's just really crappy, hard to read. This is definitely on a higher weight paper. It's got a little bit of shine to it. And it is clearly written and easy to follow. Step 1, step 2, step 3, 4 and 5 and 6. Okay. So, oh, Squiggy wants to get in on the video too. So let's see what the back says here. Okay. So the back has the instructions for how to do a single crochet, a magic ring, a chain, a half double crochet, a double crochet, slip stitch, decrease and increase. It says work in the round using a stitch marker or piece of yarn to mark the beginning of each round. Okay, so that's good advice if you run out of stitch markers or your stitch markers didn't come in your kit. They did give you an alternative, which I do like. Looking at the order, I'm not a fan of the order that it's in. It's probably just so it could all fit on one page and reduce production waste, but I do feel like the magic ring, the slip stitch should probably be, and the chain should probably be up at the top, just because in order that you're learning, in order that you're doing a project. But we'll look at the instructions and see. Maybe I'm wrong. I will say personally, I have never been able to learn how to knit or crochet looking at just pictures, even once I had knowledge of crochet, going from single to double to treble crochets or anything like that. I always preferred to have a video or talk to somebody who knew what they were doing, simply because I think that these pictures can be a little difficult to follow. However, with that being said, I am going to add the small caveat that I do appreciate that, again, this is a decent quality print. Everything is very clear. The lines are very clean, so you can see the individual stitch. The hook comes through here, grabs, and we can see it start to pull through, and we can see it having pulled through. So I do... That's Pickles just saying hello to my husband. So I do appreciate that these images are good, and I do understand that there are a lot of people out there that would prefer to learn this way than to have someone like me, I'm not offended at all, I promise, explaining to them how to do a stitch. So we do have those nice clear instructions. Last but not least, we've got basic crochet stitches tutorial for beginner. And we can scan the QR code to learn what the basic stitches are. It also provides, a hook breakdown, the conversion chart of how you would read a pattern, UK versus US, sorry, I was busy reading it. So we can go down to the half treble HTR versus half double HDC, so on and so forth. We have several abbreviations listed out over here. So again, if you were a beginner trying to learn, or you want to gift this to someone who's been begging you to teach them how to crochet, it would be a good starting point for them to be able to learn the lingo and come to you for questions or advice, or search online for questions and advice. Let's see. We do have some more images, full color photos, which again, very much appreciated. I absolutely hate instructions on black and white photos. I can't explain it, but I have a lot of trouble seeing definition in just black and white, no matter how clear it's printed. So I do love that that they provide these nice detailed instructions. They give you different options for holding the hook, and they do have a note in here for people that are working left-handed to crochet with a little bit of a typo. To crochet left-handed, simply do the opposite to the right-handed holds. Hold a mirror up to any picture in this guide to see how to work it. Which is you know, I believe the statistic is 10% of the world's population is left-handed, so it's not half of us, but there are enough left-handed crocheters out there that I think, or enough left-handed people out there that I think they could have taken the photos with both a right-handed and a left-handed person, but I'm probably just being nitpicky. It goes on to show images for chain stitch, working into the chain, working in the round, which I do like. My nephew's going to find that very helpful when he gets his kit. And it goes on. So this is a nice, again, it's a nice little booklet for beginners. And we know that this kit is intended for beginners. It's listed right there on the front of the bag. So if you were a beginner and you were buying this, I think you will learn something. Whether or not your koala is going to come out as good as you hope it to on your first project, I don't know, but you will learn how to crochet, and you will learn the lingo, the language, get a little bit, the stitch markers and things like that can be used again, and be able to go on from there. So the next step is going to be that we are going to follow these instructions in order to make the koala, but we're going to do that. I'm going to film that in a little bit. Okay, so my little koala is completed. He's very cute. It's actually a little bit bigger than I thought it would be. I probably should have measured it, but it's about 4.5 inches, I would say. It did come together very nicely if we only look at it from the front. Please don't judge the fact that his nose is off center and blame the kit. That is entirely my fault. But it was very easy to put together. The tapestry needle was very helpful, of course, and worked just fine. The biggest complaint I have of the kit as a whole, of everything that it came with, is these scissors. They are horrendous. Horrendous. They barely cut through anything. I basically had to use them like a knife. And, oh, here, I've got a piece here that I can. So even when I hold the yarn taut, does nothing. I basically had to use them like this to pull it through, like it was a knife. But no big deal. It's a pair of scissors. I own about 4 million pairs of scissors. So in the grand scheme of things, for me personally, it wasn't that big of a deal. However, if you were purchasing as a new person to crochet, or somebody who is not a crafter to begin with, this could be very frustrating, because then you're pulling out your big scissors to do this little tiny finishing work, and that could be annoying. So it's something to keep in mind. Now, the next critique that I had is the instructions were very clear when it came to doing the crocheting, to counting stitches and rows, It was all done in single crochet with the exception of a couple stitches on the nose, which I think is very nice for a beginner because they're not having to switch between single, double, half double, you know, whatever. So that part I did like. However, when it came to anything that was outside of crochet rules, for instance, the inside of the ear is not crocheted, it's actually embroidered in. The steps that were listed on the instructions were incredibly vague. It literally just said embroider inside the ear. No steps, no explanation, no nothing. Additionally, when it talked about how to where to attach, it gave specific instructions on where to attach the ears, where to attach the arms, which I do think kind of look like cheeks, but that's okay, and where to attach the legs. That was very helpful, but it didn't say how to attach those things in the instructions. If you were reading the pattern, I think that could get very frustrating. It also didn't say how to finish or weave in your ends, which again, keeping in mind that this is a kit intended for beginners, it would be a little bit difficult. If you have enough crochet under your belt to have maybe crocheted a couple granny squares, I think you would be okay with this kit. But if brand new to the craft, I think that those two things would make it a little bit frustrating. Oh, I did not show opening the fiber fill, but it did open just fine, and they gave you plenty. You only need fiber fill for the body section. These are just little puffs, so you don't use fiber fill for those, and it was plenty. You can see it looks nice and stuffed, just like it does in the picture. Overall, would I recommend this kit for beginners? I am going to say yes with a little asterisk. And that asterisk is going to say as long as they are crafty savvy or they have a crafty savvy friend that's willing to answer some minor questions that they're going to have. Because they are minor questions, but they are the difference between making something that resembles the picture that you're looking at and making something that ends up being a crochet fail. And when you're talking about new hobbies, if your first attempt is a fail or you perceive it as a fail, you're less likely to delve further into that craft. And so for that reason alone, I would just put that little asterisk next. It did come with enough yarn to where I do have quite a bit extra in here. Probably not enough to do like a second one per se, but probably about 50%. I will also say one of the reasons this kit did not frustrate me is because I never got to this point in this skein of yarn where this horrible join is. Had I gotten there, I may have been more frustrated because this kind of lazy attachment really irritates me, and for a beginner is very hard to work with and figure out how to work around. So, but it did come with plenty of yarn. It came with enough yarn that if you made mistakes, you would be able to correct them and still have enough for your project, which I also like. So yeah, final thoughts are these kits are great. I know there's a ton of them out on the market right now. I get, as I mentioned at the beginning, I get ads for these things from every single social media site that I'm on, in my email, all kinds of stuff. And the one thing that I have noticed is that they do tend to be fairly expensive, honestly. I saw one that was $45 for a kit that was branded a specific character, but it was still going to just pop out something very small, very delicate. And it was also listed as a beginner kit. So with that in mind, are these kits worth it? This kit is available on Amazon for, looks like $29.99 right now, which $30 as a gift, yes. For yourself, go on Ravelry, find a pattern, and go from there. I will also say that I am looking forward to giving the other one that I got to my nephew. I think he will thoroughly enjoy having all of the instructions to go through and all of that kind of thing. I think I'm starting to ramble, so I apologize for that. But I'm just checking one thing here just to make sure. Yeah, $29.99 is what it's priced at. I will put the link in the description of this video if you're interested in buying it, if you know someone that you think will enjoy trying out crochet. This could be a fun way. There are several different animals. I have the koala and the hedgehog. They do seem to be listed as different individual listings on Amazon instead of being one listing where you select the option that you want. So let me check something. If you don't mind hanging out with me for just a minute here. There we go. So if you are on Amazon and you are interested in these, you can just search Creatkits and all of them will, all the little animals that they have will come up. They do have some cute animals and some cute patterns, and they all are priced at the $29.99. So, final thoughts, 4 out of 5. Could use a little bit of improvement. The price point's a little bit high, but it's definitely comparable to what's out on the market today, and I don't think the product that you get is any less than one of the ones that would be like branded. So if you try it out, please let me know. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you don't try it out, I'd love to see what other projects you're working on. So feel free to follow me on Instagram and tag me in your fiber explorations. All right, so Spin and Die in Texas on Instagram and here on YouTube as well. Have a good day. See you guys soon.